Tip today in association with Slattery's of Pecan, your main Peugeot dealer for over 50 years in the Premier County. Slattery'sGarage.ie.
Good morning, good Pat, and welcome back to the second hour of Tip today. 1800 938 007. That's our free phone number if you want to speak to Leanne. You can text and WhatsApp 083 311 3311. You can email tiptoday@tipfm.com. Now, when I was speaking to Johnny Luby at the top of the programme, we were speaking about Lacey's Pub, and Mick was on to say the first Friday of each month, Fran, would suit you perfectly in Lacey's. It's a trad night and all the musicians are welcome. Well, you never know, Mick. I might drop in and say hello. A 5k run, walk, jog or stroll is happening in memory of Breda O'Shea. It will take place on Monday, April 6th from Borrisokane Town Park at 2 p.m. in aid of Milford Day Care Centre. And I'm glad to be joined in the studio now by Breda's husband, Martin. Good morning to you, Martin.
Good morning, Fran.
And it's good to see you today. And thanks very much indeed for coming in to us. I know loads of people you want to thank, and we'll get to that in a moment. But first of all, would you tell us a bit about Breda?
Well, Breda was born in Clonakilty in 1960. And she joined the Department of Defence at 17 years of age. And she obviously moved to Dublin then. And she started off in officer's pay in Glasnevin. And then she went to the Army headquarters then on Montpellier Hill. And then she eventually moved to the Civil Defence School in the Phoenix Park. And from there, then she moved to Rossgrey, and we came when they moved. Obviously, we moved from Dublin to Borrisokane, and we're there now to this present day.
So it was the Department of Defence.
All the time. Yeah, she was 43 years in the Department of Defence, all told. And she retired in 2024.
And how long are you in Rossgrey?
I'm in Borrisokane. I'm in Borrisokane 21 years.
21 years.
I'll be 22 this August.
So it's quite a while then, for sure. So tell me about the illness then, and when you found out, Martin.
Breda was a very private person, but she was diagnosed in 2023 with a disease called pulmonary fibrosis, and she was on the early days. She was on mobile oxygen, and in the latter days, she was on a machine that's run by electricity. It forces the oxygen into your lungs. And I think probably the best description of the disease was given to me by one of the doctors in Milford, and he said that it's like concrete slowly filling your lungs. And he said that's probably a crude way to say it, but he said that's the best description I can give to a layman.
My God. And had she shown symptoms of illness over years?
She was probably, was, a bit short of breath.
Yeah.
And, she'd get sort of breathless, and, it's just one of those things, but you pass it off. But, we didn't think anything of it really. We just thought that she was just, whatever, out of breath or whatever the case may be. But, you don't really think about these things.
Can you remember exactly when you got the news then?
Yeah, it was September.
Yeah.
September of that year of 23, or sorry, 24.
And how did she deal with that news, Martin?
She was very private, Fran, and she didn't really want anyone to know. And that's why I think it was such a shock to all our neighbours and friends that when she did pass, that they were absolutely gobsmacked, shocked. Everyone said it at the repose in Borrisokane, and they just couldn't believe it. Like,
my God! So she tried to keep stuff to herself in as much as she
absolutely, yeah.
Was that difficult for you? Because then you probably.
Well, I mean, listen, we had to respect her wishes, and that was the bottom line.
Yeah.
We had to respect her wishes, and that's that's just it. That's what we done.
Yeah.
You know, I think I probably told one of my best friends, and that was it.
And I think still in the end, did she die suddenly in the end, Martin?
She was actually admitted to UHL on 2 occasions in 2025. It was in Easter and April.
Yes.
Or April. And then she was admitted then in the May Bank holiday weekend, and she was in there for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and she went from there to the Milford Hospice.
How did she accept that, Martin?
She didn't really, she was, when Dr. Crowley from the hospice came into her to see her, and it's a thing that sticks in my mind to this day, he knelt down on the ground. He was a big, tall man, a Cork man, and of course he got on very well with her because Breda's from Cork, so he got on quite well with her. And it still sticks in my mind that he actually knelt down
to deliver the news.
And to say to her, would you mind? Would you like to go to the hospice? And she just took it as, and he just explained the whole what's going to happen, and and she didn't never even flinched. It's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. I can't, we thought about it to this day, and she never flinched. Like,
that's
incredible,
isn't it? Just
it's absolutely incredible, yeah.
And what did she say to you after the doctor left? Then, Martin, did she?
Well, she was getting ready to go, like, because they were transferring her with they were transferring her by ambulance to do.
But she just accepted.
She did, yeah. She didn't say a word. It's incredible to look back on to this day. Of course, we were going through whatever, and we never, hindsight is a fantastic thing, and we just never, I don't know, we just didn't, think about it at the time, or what might, the outcome might be.
This is a lovely way to remember her, but did you make a point? Have I got this right? Did you feel that she was telling you about this?
Yes, exactly, absolutely.
Will you tell us about that?
I to this day, I don't know where I got the idea from, because I was involved with the GAA and the Camogie, and I was just sitting at home one day, and this thought came into my mind, because I do the park run on a Saturday morning, and they all sort of knitted together. But and I'll say this, I couldn't have done it without the help of all the clubs, and that's simple as that. I had access to to people that, had I not been involved in the GAA years ago, and now the Camogie now, I don't think the doors were all open.
Yes.
There was no anybody I asked, anybody I rang, nothing was too much trouble.
And I know you're very grateful to them, but in terms of the message you got almost from Breda, was that just a feeling you had? Was it?
Yeah, it's a feeling I had, because when I was coming, I had to come home. I have 2 dogs, so on the Friday night that she passed away, I was coming back to feed the dogs, and the nurse in the hospice had said to us, because most of our family were there, and the nurse said to us, "Is there anybody going home?" And I said, "Yes, I am." But I never, of course, told her that I was coming back. But I drove as far as Board Hill, and I got this sense of dread. And I said, I got this sort of message that you need to go back, But I knew I was going back, so it passed over me. But the minute I'd left, I just got as far as Board Hill from Milford, and I got this feeling that I needed to go back, and I don't know what it was, but it's just one of those things.
And you did go back.
I did go. Well, I went back. I went home and fed the dogs in Barstacane, obviously, and then I went back, and that's. And the nurse was actually surprised. She looked at me and said, "Oh, she was trying to say in a way, because Dr. Crowley I was heading on down on Tuesday morning, and Dr. Crowley, Niamh had stayed the night before, and Dr. Crowley had taken Niamh out. He came in to talk to Breda, and it just wasn't, I don't know, she wasn't accepting of it. But Dr. Crowley brought her out into the room, the family room, and he said, "Listen," he said, "you need to listen to me." And he kept tapping her on the leg. He said, "You need to listen to me." He said, "Your mum is not going to last till after Saturday." This was on Tuesday. And she, I mean, Niamh was obviously in bits, as but you know, in hindsight, you know, I don't think that we realised the seriousness of it, you know, and that's being honest with you.
It's probably self-protection.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
In some sort of a way.
Yeah.
You were saying to me earlier on, with a wry smile, she would have hated this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
She would have hated us talking about her.
She would absolutely hate us talking about her. That's for sure. Absolutely. 100%.
Right, but you're doing it with a good heart because you're raising funds for the wonderful work done in Milford.
Yeah.
Most of us don't realise that kind of work and what goes on there until we need them, I suppose. That's
very true. All I can say is, and they have left an indelible mark in our lives. They really have. You know, there's not a word in the English language to describe their compassion and love and kindness. They're absolutely incredible people. I couldn't do it because, you know, they're absolutely unbelievable. Like, you know, when I left UHL to drive down to Milford, I felt this sense of calm when I drove in. When I drove in, just into the and I walked into the building, and there's a sense of serenity and beauty inside and love inside in the place.
You could feel that.
I could feel it.
Wow.
And like, UHL was so busy, and they're so busy, obviously, and now they've done a fantastic job and they treat her really brilliantly, but there's just this sense of beauty and serenity. I describe to someone as it's like a piece of heaven. It's like a step to heaven. That's what I can describe to you as.
So you came up with this fundraiser then, and I know that you really appreciate the help of so many people. You wanted to mention them as well. I know, Martin. Yeah.
Obviously, first of all, I want to thank your good self for giving us the opportunity to talk.
Very welcome. You're very welcome.
I want to thank my daughter Niamh and my new grandson Rory. I want to thank the Tipperary County Board, the GAA Board, and the Tipperary Camogie Board, and especially Geraldine Canaan, the PRO. I want to thank all the Camogie and GAA clubs in North Tipperary, and I want to thank the parkrun organisers, Greg, Willie and Claire, and a special word of thanks to David McGee from Nina Community News, who done Trojan work for us. And I would also like to thank Borrisokane GAA Club and Hassett's in the main street in Borrisokane for all your hardware, for the use of their parking facilities on the day. I want to thank Mike O'Brien, the owner of Sparl in Borrisokane, and Cleland's for sponsoring the drink. And I also want to thank Pamela McLaughlin from The Rag, who very kindly donated drinks as well. And I want to thank Anna Powell in The Guardian for writing such a beautiful piece for us. And I want to thank both families, the O'Sullivans in Clonakilty and the O'Sheas and everybody else in Dublin, for their support and kindness. And I'd like to thank also Aileen Hogan and Bernard and Mark Houlihan for all the help that they've given me over the last few weeks. And I hope I didn't leave anybody out.
Well, I'm sure you didn't indeed. So it's a 5K walk, jog, run, stroll. You just want people involved from Borrisokane Town Park, 2 p.m. start. And it's happening on Sunday week, which is Monday week, which is Easter Monday.
Easter Monday, yeah.
Easter Monday
at 2 o'clock, kicking off at 2 o'clock.
Do you have to register ahead of time, or can you just turn up?
Well, we have a Facebook page, and the Facebook page is Run for Breda, and everything is on that page. There's a Night on 8 page that Milford use. So that would be, the money will be going directly to them, and we will have we got collection buckets from Milford, which we can use on the day. And you just give them straight back to them. They're sealed and everything. That you just hand back the bucket straight away. You don't have to deal with any counting money or anything like that.
Very good. All proceeds, of course, to Milford.
All proceeds to Milford
Care Centre. I know it's been a tough journey for you, but still, Rory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was unexpected, but he arrived on the 22nd of January. So we're absolutely delighted. As someone said to me, they take one and send one.
Well, there you go, indeed. Martin, lovely to meet you, and thanks for coming in.
And thank you very much, Fran. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and we wish you the best. So that is Monday week, Easter Monday there, for that 5k walk from Borrisokeen Town Park. And remembering Breda, of course, but all donations on the day, all proceeds to Milford Care Centre. We'll take a break. We're back in just a moment.
Tipp FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage, hook on. Main Peugeot dealers in the Premier County. And now stocking the full range of the luxury French car brand DS Automobiles. Book your test drive today with Slattery's Garage, hook on. See slatterysgarage.ie.